Hey everybody, it's TheDollBoy, and today I'm gonna show you the process of my updated DollBoy doll. Almost 5 years ago, I posted the video of my very first mini-me that I created using an Ever After High doll. Since Ever After High got cancelled, I got into many other doll brands like LOL OMG, Rainbow High, and Disney dolls. And then when recently the Disney store released the ILY dolls, I felt like the boy doll was a perfect combination from what I like for Disney store dolls, mixed with those inset eyes that really reminded me of Rainbow High. So far, they have only released one boy doll, with some slight variations, but that skin tone, eye color, and hair color combination has been the same for all of them. And unfortunately, this doll does not perfectly resemble myself, but I did want to purchase him and customize him to get him a lot closer to my personal appearance. One very important thing when selecting the base doll of my mini-me was the articulation. And this doll can move at the head pretty well, since he can look up and down, to the sides, and tilt his head from left to right. He's got articulation in his shoulder, elbows, and wrists, making it almost possible to touch his own face. And he has movement at the hip, has a double jointed knee, and has movement at his ankles as well. So it's safe to say that this doll is pretty poseable. This doll also has a super realistic foot sculpt. And in this shot you can clearly tell that unfortunately that skin tone is a little more tan than myself. But I feel like with his new eye color and hair, I will be able to get pretty close to my own appearance. The doll comes with quite a cute Aladdin-inspired outfit and accessories, and there were a lot more fashion packs available as well that I did purchase too. This base doll also is able to fit a lot of Ken clothes, which widens the wardrobe a lot. But I'll show you a full fashion show at the end of this video. Now first, let's get rid of that original hair. I simply go ahead and chop all that hair as short as I possibly can. And then I dip the head in a cup of boiling water. You can see that I was super excited to start this process, since I was filming this in my hotel room. It also took quite a while before the head was soft enough to take that head off his body. And once I did, I had the very weird surprise of finding a neck bag inside of his head, even though the doll's neck bag was still attached to the neck. Which honestly, to this day, is still so confusing to me. Also, while taking off his head, I had a big scare of his leg falling off, but thankfully that was very easy to just pop back. Then I took my forceps pliers and scraped all the hair to the inside. And then pull everything out of the neck hole to get that completely clean canvas. Then for his hair color, I'm gonna use several shades of dark blonde hair in the DGHQ nylon from the Doll Planet hair. If you want to buy your own reroot hair, make sure to check out their website because they have so many more different textures and colors available. And if you use TheDollBoy10 as a discount code, you get 10% off your purchase. Comparing the new colors to my old mini-me, they were a bit darker, because a couple years ago I was a little blonder than I am now. Also comparing the skin tone, you can see that my old mini-me is definitely a lot lighter than my own skin, and that new body is a little darker than my own. But since this is the only male ILY doll that's available, I still really wanted to use him as a base. The main colors I'm using for this reroot are the light umber and the Flexum blonde, mixed in different ratios to get a super blended yet highlighted result, to really match my own color as well as I could. Since my hair is not that long, I was even able to cut it in half even more, which made sure I didn't have to use that much hair in the end. I did use a little more than in my original mini-me doll, since I have grown out my sides since then. So I'm giving this doll a full head of hair. To prepare myself for the reroot, I like to lay out a lot of strands of hair on my table to keep everything super organized. Then to actually reroot the hair, I take one of the strands and wrap it around my finger 2 times. Pick that up with the reroot tool that I got from the Doll Planet Hair. Carefully pull on the ends of those strands to create a knot, and then push that strand into one of the holes of the head. For my reroot process, I always prefer to start at the back hairline and work my way to the front. And then while working on the hairline, I actually asked my husband, who was still my boyfriend at the time of making this doll, to help me create the eyes for my mini-me. On AliExpress, I actually found some really cool doll eyes that matched my eye color super well, but they were completely round. So I popped out the doll's eyes to get a clear idea of the eye shape that needed to happen, and asked my husband to carve the new eyes down to the needed size. For this, he used a sharp knife and slowly shaved down that round shape into more of an oval that matched the original eye shape very well. Then I boiled some water to soften the head up, and I pushed in the new eyes with quite a lot of trouble. But in the end, I'm super happy with how these eyes look in my doll. Then after finishing most of the hairline, I went on to root the part, and for this I was able to use one of the rows of hair that his originally part came in, and I used the one most on the side because that one is most similar to where I part my hair. And for this, I lay down a bunch of thicker strands in that darker color blend and a few highlights on the right that I can mix in if I want. And then before rooting, I did have to dip this head again because the plastic of this head is so hard. For the part line, I simply did one row from front to back in thicker sections that I can later split into 2, to have one part go to the right and the other to the left, which avoids me having to do any thatching and makes my life a lot easier. Then once that's done, I fill in the rest of the head with a mix of the darker and lighter blonde colors, until the entire head is filled. Here you can see that I did not root the entire hairline as is, but I kept the sideburns out, since in my haircut, those bits are shaved off and the rest is worn behind my ear. I wanted to mimic this style by giving my doll flocked sideburns. To create flocking that's the exact same color as the hair, I simply take some of the hair and cut it in tiny pieces that I can use as my flocking. I then take some Mod Podge and a tiny brush to put some glue on the exact area that I want flocked, and then drizzle some of that homemade flocking on the head. If you want to get a clearer idea on how exactly I do this flocking, I do have a separate flocking tutorial on my channel. Then to make sure all the hair is secured on the inside of the head, I add some Fabri-Tac glue on the inside, spread that out evenly with my Q-tip, and wait for 24 hours until all of this is dry. And then I'm getting the most nervous that I've gotten in this entire process, because I'm gonna try to give this doll my haircut. So I chop off quite a lot of length to keep this mid-length hair. I personally prefer to keep my doll's hair a little bit on the longer side than I wear it myself, because I feel like on this scale, a little longer hair styles a lot easier, and it's much easier to go back in and cut a little more than to go in and reroot this doll. Then once I'm happy with the haircut, I add some straws as curlers to give my hair the wave that I want it to have. And once that's dry, I also add some hair product to give it the exact shape I want. And after doing all that, my boyfriend actually proposed to me, so I also gave my mini-me an engagement ring, and now I'm also super excited to paint on my wedding ring on the other hand. And with that, my updated TheDollBoy doll is finished. I really hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and comment down below. Then to see more of my doll videos, also make sure to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram and TikTok for more looks of my dolls at TheDollBoy. See you next time!